Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today's video, I'm going to be going over the new skate game and my thoughts and opinions on it. Now, two things I want to address. Number one, usually I write a script for these videos. Today, I don't. This is just my honest opinions, right? So you're going to hear me stumbling a lot. You're going to hear me going over my words a lot, right? There is no script that I'm going to be reading off of today. This is just coming from the heart as I've been playing the game, and this is just my opinions. Second of all, the biggest thing that I want to say is I have never played a skate game before. So that means I'm not going to be trying to give as much opinion on how I think the game should be played, because obviously I've never played the original skate games or even like the Tony Hawk things in general. Like, I've never played a skateboarding game ever. So I want to state that I have really no authority to talk and give an example of how things should be done. However, though, I am going to be going over some stuff like optimization, right, and just like how video games play in general that I can give opinion on, because you know I've played video games my whole life, so I feel like I'm allowed to talk about that. But to start off with, those are just the two things I want to get out of the way. All right, without further ado, let's get into the video. So to start off with, I want to give my opinions on the customization. First of all, the player customization is actually really good in my opinion. I do think there could be some more options when it comes to like hairstyles for men, hairstyles for women, all the different in and outs of certain things like nose features, eyebrows. For me, a big thing is facial hair, right? I have a beard IRL, so I do believe there should be more beard options for me to choose from other than just the three things and like some stubbles. As when it comes to like clothing, I think the generic outfit that they start everyone off with is completely fine, considering that as you play the game, you can unlock more clothing, and I don't think it's bad looking. I think that like the stuff that you can unlock, I think is completely like okay looking stuff, to even where some of it is actually really nice looking. And I really don't think that you really have to pay much money if you do want something like really cool looking. I really don't think that's the case. Now, of course, though, if you do want something really cool, you can just pay for it right off the bat, and I'm not dissing them for that, right? I see nothing wrong with a free game, right, having an in-game store like that for cosmetics, right? Because you're not buying anything, you're just buying something that solely makes you look cooler, right? So to have something like that, I think that's completely justifiable on a free game like it is. So overall, with all the customization the game really does offer, from genetic stuff to more of like vanity items, I think I would honestly give it like an 8 out of 10. I know some people are not going to agree with me. My one buddy John, shout out to him, he said he couldn't really make his character look like a Skate 3 character, and that was like a big thing for him, right? Because he really wanted to continue that over, right? Like I said in the beginning, I've never played the other skate games, right? So I have no clue what the previous customization options were, what they gave you, how good some of it was. But as someone who started off, I think it's fine. I don't think it's bad. But again, though, take that with a grain of salt. Now, next to my lineup, I'm going to be talking about the main story, in my opinion, and the missions that go along with it. The story was not actually that bad. I don't think it was terrific, though. And I think most people would actually agree with me. I found it kind of dull at times. I think some of the voice acting could have been better, such as the one guy, Slappy. I didn't like him. I didn't think he, like, the voice fit the character as much. Some other things too were just like some of the missions just kind of got to the point where they were just repetitive, right? Like it was the 5th mission in a row asking you to basically do a flip and then manual, and to me some of it was just kind of getting redundant. It just felt like padding, right? It just felt like the story was too short, so they just doubled up on all the missions, and then that way they can make it longer. So like I said, I don't think the story was actually that bad, but some of it just like was not good. Like some parts were just really boring, and I just didn't care at all. Now, as for the side missions, this is a completely different story. The side missions I'm talking about would be like the dailies that rotate in every 24 hours, right? To me, I think some of them are really fun. Like, some of them are genuinely, like, super enjoyable, right? And then some of them are absolutely fucking horrendous. Like, genuinely, they should just remove them from the game. It's a terrible mission. The main types I'm talking about are the ones that have you do things in sequence. To me, I think they should give you a little bit of a buffer room, because sometimes, like, when they ask you to do like a flip into a manual, into another flip into another manual, for me at least, it's just genuinely like it doesn't work sometimes. And I mean, I'm pulling down like almost the majority of the way on my right stick, and I'm either not doing a manual at all, or my whole board just completely stops, and then with like 10% of the time my character will then manual. I think like the margin of error there is so like small, and I think it just makes it annoying, right? Because you just see yourself doing that mission now for like 10-20 minutes at a time. And even with like when I was doing these with like my group of friends, like there was just one, like we just genuinely couldn't do it. We could not get it like done. It was asking like way too much, and none of us could do it. And these were guys who all have played all the old skate games, right? Who have a ton of hours on them, right? Who know what they're doing, right? They're not just, you know, terrible like I am. Like, I will give it that. I am bad at the game, so I'm not really going to sit there and talk about skill as much. But like some of them were just like, I don't know, they just weren't good. I think that they can do without them. All right, now we're getting into my expertise of what I can truly talk about. That's going to be optimization and the bugs. First of all, let's address the bugs. The bugs are a 50-50 on whether or not they're annoying as shit or they're really fun. So some of the stuff has been like speed glitching, right? Like that shit's fun. Like sometimes, like when you get your character wedged the right way, he'll just like get thrown like at like Mach 7 into a wall, and that's really funny, right? Though those are things that like I hope they don't patch those, because when they do happen, it's just funny, it's enjoyable, right? It has no effect on gameplay. However, though, some of the other bugs genuinely make it unfun. So one of the big things is, we'll get to this specifically later in the video too, but with the fact that Skate 4 is completely online, right? You have to be connected to a server to play the game. Your character can experience glitches, right? Like desync that you wouldn't experience if you just had fucking single player. And one of the things is like if you're in like a crowded server, right? And especially if you're playing like on like a Saturday when servers are pretty full and there's a lot of people on, right? The server's going to be a little bit slower, right? You'll notice that like your character won't do certain things as efficiently as he would if you were just in single player, right? Which again, just add single player. I don't know why this is a problem, but B, if you're online with like, you know, where there's only like 10, maybe 15 people in the lobby, right? So like the big thing is, for me, when I was hitting grinds, it would be specifically be grinds that go on a curve. As soon as you hit the start of your character has to curve, right? My character would just phase through, continue going straight, float in the air, and then just get kicked off his skateboard, because obviously he's in the middle of the air flying and the game can finally catch up. To me, it just ruins the game. It literally makes it unenjoyable, right? Because you're trying so hard, and then now you're up to the reliance of how good EA servers are. And to me, I'm sure the developers probably didn't have the option to choose that. If they did, they're retarded pieces of shit. But I'm assuming that's probably more of like a high up corporate like pick. But to me though, that, like I said, it makes it so unenjoyable, because you're trying to do a trick and then you're up to the mercy of servers, not your skill. Another thing is, another one of the glitches that I experienced was my camera switching. Like, it's awful. Like I would start off, like when I play, right, I use the high angle setting, right, to where my camera is mounted more so like a foot above my head, over on the side, right? That's how probably the majority of you guys are too. Now, whenever you start missions, sometimes your camera, for no reason whatsoever, will just switch, right? It will just go down to the bottom, right? And the problem that they have is because when you're in a mission, you can't open your settings menu. You cannot do it at all. They completely disable your ability. So that means you have to then stop the mission, then go into settings, then change it, then go back into the mission. And it's so stupid, and it's just annoying, right? And like I said, I get it that this is open beta, right? This is like early access, but to me though, that's just something that like it happens so often that like there's no way they haven't ran into this during play testing, right? This isn't like something that just like it is like a once in a million thing happening. Like this happens like a couple times every time I play. I've probably had it over like 30 hours I've played so far. It probably has happened close to 10 times. So there's no way that they have missed this one. That's something that's really annoying. Another thing that's really annoying is I personally think it would be considered a bug, but in your settings, you can turn on and off certain tricks, right? Specifically, one of them being late tricks. Now, later on in the missions, in the third area, you have to hit a late trick. And I couldn't do it, and I kept trying for like 30 minutes, but I could not get it. The problem was, I literally couldn't do the mission until I turned on the setting. And to me, that is a huge oversight with them. And I really do think that since I have it off, I really do believe that they should have like a little note saying, hey, this isn't possible, or hey, you have to go into your settings and switch on this rule, right, to say you can hit late tricks while you're in the air, right, before you go into doing the trick, right? So then you're not sitting there like me stuck, and then as I was going through settings to one day, I looked and said, oh, wow, there's literally one that says 4 late tricks, right? So now I could do it. And then once when I went to the mission, I got it right away. To me, that's just like a little bit of an oversight, right? Again, though, a lot of the stuff isn't early access, so I don't blame them on some of this stuff. It's going to happen, right? Obviously, when you have 250,000 people playing a day, they're going to find a lot more glitches than a team of 50 over the course of a year. It's just, it's just with it's a numbers game. Another big thing, though, that I'm going to be talking about is the storage size of the game. First of all, I want to give my hats off to EA. 8 gigabytes, less than 10 gigabytes for this entire game, I think is fucking phenomenal. I think they nailed it right on the head. I think 10 gigabytes for an entire game like this is more than fair. I think the optimization in terms of how big the game is, right? Especially shout out to, Call of Duty, like whatever it is, like Black Ops 7 they're on now, where like these games are like 200 gigabytes to like install. It's, in a day where these things are getting bigger, I think less than 10 gigabytes, they can really get a pat on the back there. But in terms of other stuff though, the optimization of frames is not okay. The game itself is not a demanding title, right? These aren't highly realistic 4K textures, right, with crazy like things. And I play on 1080p, and I'm getting like 100 frames with frame generation on. To me, that is not okay with the hardware I have. I have now, not to flex, but I have an i9 14900K with 64 gigabytes of RAM and a 3080. I should not be getting 100 frames. I should be getting a minimum of like 165, ideally 240 with how the game looks. To me, there's no fucking excuse for that. I get it, right? It's a new game, right? They're gonna get a lot of the bugs patched right within the first month. But to me, it's just another game that releases, and it's just completely unoptimized when it comes to frames. It's absolutely fucking stupid that you're getting less than 100 in some areas. Like when you're in a crowded server, and why am I getting 80 frames with frame generation on with the hardware I have in the beginning area? It's stupid. It's fucking dumb. It's a genuine issue that they need to fix, because again, this shouldn't exist on launch. Games should be, to a certain point, finished when they launch. They shouldn't have to rely that much on the public to find glitches like this or bugs that are just straight up like annoying and like completely like breaks the game. To some of my friends on like lower hardware, I mean, he has to run the game basically on all low settings, and his computer again is not that great, but it definitely shouldn't be getting like only 60 frames on like super low settings, right? Like it should not be that bad. The game itself is not like you don't have realistic 4K texturing, right? You have that cartoony feel, right? That's really fun. Go with that, right? Stop, like, I don't know. To me, the optimization is fucking terrible. I think they really got to get their reins on that, right? But that's just my rant about the optimization of this game with the bugs. All right, because I yapped for almost like 4 minutes on optimization, we're going to something real quick, and that's going to be the music for the game. Now, the music for the game, in my opinion, is 50-50. Some of the songs are bangers, like super enjoyable, right? Like they're actually like they make sense for the game. They're fun to listen to, right? And then some of the music is just fucking god awful. Like it is so bad. Like it like genuinely they need to remove it from the game. And I really do think a lot of people would agree with me on this, especially people who played all the original Skate games. A lot of the Steam reviews I was reading basically stated that the music was terrible, and I would have to agree. Like I said, I just ended up muting my music in-game and just ended up playing my personal music through Spotify because the stuff that's on the game is just absolutely atrocious. Now, these are going to be the general problems of the game that I have that they should fix. Like, number one, as I mentioned before, why is there no single player? Like, to me, Skate is one of those games where it's kind of like GTA, right? GTA, if you you can just go on there and you can just drive around and have fun, right? And you can do that if you have no internet connection. You can just go into single player and drive around and actually have fun and just enjoy the game. I want to be able to go on Skate and just skate around and have fun, but if I don't have an internet connection, I can't do that. It's so stupid that games are requiring this stuff. To me, you're ruining your game. You're actually just genuinely, like, you're setting your game up to fail. And I guarantee you, within 10 years, right, if the game's not profitable anymore, EA will just switch the servers offline. And it's one of those things where you're losing all this work and effort because of greed. And again, you know, like I said, I don't think it's the developer's fault on that. I think it is genuine. That was like a high up, like, corporate decision for shareholding. But to me, it's so stupid. Another big thing I think they're missing from the game is the ability to make your own skate parks, because right now you can place objects in the world, but you can only place like 5. And I think having an option to create a whole skate park and then upload it and then play other people's skate parks would be very fun. Now, apparently someone said that this was a feature in the previous skate games. I don't know. I'm not going out of my way to fact check that or not, but I do think that would be generally a good add, and I do think that would add a lot of content to the game. And as for the last thing I think they need to add, I think they just need to add more missions and more like small little areas around the map. And I think they just need to add, in general, like more areas, more skating stuff, more ramps, right? Different areas that you could try to do like crazy cool tricks, right? Because I think right now there's just not enough in terms of like going on top of like skyscrapers, right? And having the option to do some of that stuff. I genuinely do think they need more like indoor areas as well. And I really do think they just need to add a little bit more to the game. And I'm into this last second too. When I completed the story, I got the boiler outfit, the blue boiler outfit. I think they need to redo that. I think for the fact that you complete like a 20-hour story and that's what you get, I don't know. To me, that is just completely, it's just stupid. I think they need to redo that, and they need to give you something actually a little bit more worthwhile other than this stupid like outfit. Now, finally, to close everything off, I think Skate is a really fun game. I do think it has the potential to be really, really great and be a wonderful addition to the Skate series. Again, I've been having so much fun with the game, and I genuinely do just enjoy playing it. Like I said, if they could fix a lot of the general problems and bugs with the game within the next like month or even like 2 months, and fix it and release it out, I genuinely do believe Skate would easily be one of my favorite games. It's genuinely just so fun to play with friends and even play by yourself and just roll around. I do think that the game is really fun. There's just the little things that they need to fix. Now, again, I just want to reiterate, I haven't played a single Skate game before in my life, right? So take everything I've said today with a grain of salt. These are just some of my personal opinions, right? Whatever you guys think, let me know down below. I'm more than welcome to hear what you guys have to think about the game and what you think should happen. If it differs from what I think, I would love to discuss it. As for the video, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Again, a lot of work goes into making these, even if it is off the script. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching, and have a nice rest of your day. Put my head on the pillow, it's caving in. I got problems, don't act like it's okay. When I Will Smith that fan on stage, I hope nobody got that on tape. Get that spotlight off me. Been sweeping the floor. Everyone watch where you step. Please let me show you the door. I think there's a crack in the glass. Pray it don't ever collapse.